Benicia Unified School District Board meeting to session. Let's start with our reports from closed session. We have some student items on our agenda. The first one being student number 19-001.
Make a motion that we deny the request for readmission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? We need a roll call vote for that, Betty?
No, you can just do.
All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Do we have a new motion?
Well, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the former delayed expulsion to a full expulsion.
And I'll second that.
Okay, now we need a roll call vote on that, right?
Nope.
No, we're good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, now let's move to student matter 19-007. Looking for a motion to approve the recommendation of the committee for a stipulated expulsion.
I'll move that we accept the recommendation from the committee.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, that motion also passes. All right, thank you. Okay, now let's move to the pledge, please. If everyone will please stand. And how about if our students lead us tonight?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda and also move 14.2 up before 14.1.
I move that we approve the agenda as with the recommendation changes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Okay, let's move on now to highlights with Dr. Young.
Yes, we have representatives. Thank you. We have representatives from BEF joining us this evening. Alex Bernard, correct? Thank you for being here. Just a quick note on BEF. We have a wonderful partnership with all of you, and you've done great work for the school district over the years. And Dr. Holguin was once on that committee. We thank you for your work on that. So we thought it would be really nice for you to come and spend a few moments with us tonight and talk about the great work you guys are doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Young. So for those, well, first of all, I'm Alex, and I've just been at the BEF since September. My stepson's in kindergarten at Joe Henderson, and I have a daughter that'll be entering next year. So relatively new to all the school stuff, but we're excited with what we have going on. So for those of you that aren't super familiar with the Education Foundation, we fund programs within the school. We work with different school leaders at each of the schools to find needs and try to prioritize different funding. All the needs that we try to meet are ones that are programs and services that just fall right outside of the budget for the school district. And we just want to kind of cover those gaps and be able to provide for the schools different opportunities regarding curriculum and instruction, different curriculum support, technology, health and safety, and different enrichment stuff. So every year we have a different budget. It's fluid. We change it. So this year we have about $80,000 that are allocated between all of our schools, which is really good. We're happy with that. And keep things going. We have $48,000 at the elementary school, so $40,000 goes to the STEAM wheel, which we work with you guys on, and that's really exciting. And we have $8,000 that goes to the outdoor education for 4th and 5th grade right now. So middle school, we have about $11,000 going for speakers, field trips. We have teacher mini grants and different career and college services. And at the high school, we have $16,000 going for the biggest expense right now is the PSAT, different speakers, college tours, college and counseling, and again, many grants that are awarded to high school teachers. We have $1,000 for Liberty High School that hasn't been dispersed yet, but that will be a project that will be determined later on with them. And then we have some leftover discretionary funds based on need from the schools. So waiting to hear for proposals on that. This year, we're really trying to focus on increasing community engagement. We're just trying to reach out to different community partners. We have a really exciting partnership with SD Real Estate that just started. So they pledged $500 for every house that goes into escrow. So that was really exciting for the foundation. We're really happy to move forward with that. We just voted to join the Chamber of Commerce, which we didn't even know was an option. So that's good. Thank you. We're excited for that. And just really increase visibility within the community. We're hoping to start with the younger kindergarten families and kind of grow through and just get our name out there and what we're doing. So we did some new events. We did a sip and stroll, which some of you know, at the clock tower, and it was, I think we grossed about 4,000 on it. So it was successful. We had some kind of run-ins with different city stuff and not really knowing exactly how everything works, but hopefully we'll work out the kinks and get it going for next year. We also there's a Benicia Moms group, and we sponsored their early education fair. So we just went there and talked to some of the younger families and got the name out there and got to meet some of the younger families in the community. So that was good. We have a kindergarten, like a new kindergarten meet and greet coming up. We have flyers that Betty gave to each of the kindergarten schools or elementary schools for registration, and we're just hoping to have kind of an information session. I know we had a lot of questions with our kids going to school, so we're just hoping to kind of have a place where people can come and get questions answered and double it so we can introduce what we do to them. We also are really excited to bring back the Night of Stars this year to honor the teachers. I know that was something that was missing last year, so we got approval from Northgate Church to have that there, and that's April 26th. We will honor last year's Teachers of the Year as well, since we didn't have that event last year. The last thing is the Run for Education, and that will be May 5th. So that's our biggest fundraiser. We use most of those funds to fund the Wheel program. So we're looking forward to that. Does have any questions? May 5th. Mm-hmm.
Now, I just want to thank you for all that BEF does for our schools. It's pretty amazing. And I don't know if you get the opportunity to get to some of the events that you sponsor. I hit a lot of the STEAM Wheel events at the elementary schools pretty regularly. And to see those kids and to see the excitement, it's pretty awesome. So if you haven't been out there, you need to see what a gift they're giving to the community. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and for the high school kids to have those opportunities in our middle school, I just applaud you guys. I love the way you're touching all levels. So I just want to say thank you. And I'm glad you're going to join the chamber with us. We did that. We'll get to that. We did that this year and thought, why are we not connecting and getting more engaged with our city? We are the district in this city, and we're not that big. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
so
we're
good.
really excited.
So that's really great.
Will be good, and we're all
so thank you.
So I think they have a dinner at least once a year.
Yes.
And so I was thinking when we went to that, I thought, what a great opportunity. And there are more businesses in Benicia than I was aware of, like tons of them. And it was a wonderful night. And so I was wondering next year if the district and BEF could have our own table together.
Did you know we've actually been a member of the chamber for
We have.
11 years?
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
We have.
We just figured it out.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, when we were discussing it, we didn't even know if it was an opportunity, like if that was something we could do. So
Right.
We're excited for that.
So good.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Well done.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. We usually do. I was going to ask if we flip this.
Go first? No, it should be that first.
Okay, can we move to the student reports, please? I'm sorry, I think I
okay.
skipped that one myself. I went from highlight to the superintendent.
So my name is Dahlia Elkin-Namey. I'm a senior at Benicia High School, and I'm the ASB Public Relations Officer.
My name is Alma Ogan. I'm a senior as well, and I am the senior class secretary. So first, last Saturday we had our Girls' Choice Dance. The theme was Fire and Ice, and we had a really good turnout, and the students really enjoyed themselves.
This week we have 3 senior nights. So Wednesday night was soccer, tonight is boys basketball, and Friday is boys soccer.
Also this Friday, we are going to be celebrating the 105th day of school. So we're going to be encouraging the students to dress up as kindergartners and participate in recess games at lunch.
And it's not raining tomorrow, so that's awesome. Also, next week on Valentine's Day, we will be having our semi-annual blood drive. So we're really excited because we already have 45 signups, so that's great.
And this past week, we picked our themes for the next rally and for prom.
Pretty much it. Is that something we're allowed to say?
Because it hasn't been announced to the school
It might
yet.
be top secret.
Better not, better
I would
not.
say it's secret. It hasn't been announced. Don't go there. We'll get you in trouble. Next time you can share. Okay, thank you, ladies. It sounds like things are really moving along and lots happening. Okay, thank you very much. We are dismissing our amazing students so they can go do their homework.
Yes.
Okay, now we will move to the superintendent's report. Dr. Young.
Thank you very much. Good evening, trustees, and people have been able to join us this evening. So a couple of items, actually a few items from me. I'd like to start off by recognizing the debate team at the high school, and congratulations to them for winning the majority of their debates. And 2 members became the first ever pair to compete at the highest level of their league, the Golden Gate Speech Association. So that group, that effort that we started a couple years ago continues to flourish and get better and better and better. So very, very proud of them. Also with the high school, Mr. O'Reilly is one of our amazing teachers. He will have the BHS Public Art Show is at the public library until February 28th. So if people have an opportunity to go over and check that out, that would be great. I wanted to point out that one of our long-standing employees, a wonderful man, Paul Solis, worked with us for 42 years. And so he retired from Robert Semple, and they had a beautiful event for him last week. And lots and lots of people turned out from the community. I don't know if any of the trustees were there, but the chief of police.
We thought it was Friday, not knowing it was Thursday.
Okay. Chief of police was there, the chief of fire was there. So it was a wonderful event, and the whole staff was there. It was great. He's a wonderful guy and a terrific employee. A couple of other announcements. Tomorrow we have the facilities steering committee meeting, and I am really excited about that. I think that we've got some thoughts about the direction of those remaining bond dollars and some updates on our CTE grants and Prop 51 grants, but some direction regarding how we want to move forward with those remaining dollars that we'll discuss tomorrow and flesh that out, and then bring some recommendations to you, the board, on February 21st. So really, really excited about that. I wanted to point out too that I had a wonderful meeting 2 days ago with the BTA site union reps, and this is something that I started at the beginning of the year, and it was, I think, kind of a reflection coming off of negotiations last year and the desire to continue to have open and transparent communication with all parties. And those meetings for me continue to get better and better, and they're just incredibly useful. Wonderful dialogue, great feedback for me as a superintendent from teachers that are, doing the work every day. So that's really enjoyed that. It was a good vibe with that group as well. On the learning side of the house, Dr. Beeson has talked a lot about these things, but we have a lot of wheels in motion on the learning side of the house, and I won't go into detail, but lots of wonderful work around the inclusive practices, the multiple tiered systems of support. We're working all under the direction of Dr. Beetson and teachers that are working with her administrators. A block grant that we're working on. and analyzing data and ways that we can, effectively use that money. We're also working on 2 other sort of kind of compliance pieces for us for differentiated assistance and for significantly disproportionate for a group of students in special ed. I believe Dr. Beetson talked about that a little bit last time. So this is the learning side of the house. I think we're doing tremendous good on behalf of our kids, lots of wonderful teaching and areas where we'll continue to improve our craft and what we offer kids. And yesterday when I met with the site union reps, they had a lot of really interesting ideas around the core of our work, which is reading. How do we teach reading? And so that was incredibly helpful. So good news around that. I feel very positive about that. We have Professional Development Day on Tuesday. And so that day's been put together with a lot of feedback from staff and put together from Dr. Beetson's department. And what else do I have? Do you have one? Really want me to say? So, what the other thing that we're involved in is like adding works. So we're doing in Leslie's Dr. Beetson's department the federal program monitoring, and so we were the lucky recipients to spin the dial, and we got selected. And so the federal government's doing this sort of a deep dive into our services and programs and how we're doing, and they have a number of areas and we respond. So that's a lot of work. And so they'll be coming out and doing visitations soon, first week of March. And so we're proud of the work that we do. And so we're happy to have them come and talk to us and answer any questions I have about our program offering. Last thing I wanted to mention was this document that you see up here that has our vision statement and our beliefs and our characteristics of a Benicia graduate. I always like us to continue to consider that. And it's not perfect, but I think there's we utilized a pretty good process with that when we put together. It reflects a good amount of research. But it was a little bit confirming for me. I was at a conference with a number of superintendents, and one of the presentations was about districts in this group called Leadership 21. And they call it a portrait of a graduate. And so it was really wonderful to hear other superintendents in different districts working with that organization with some guidance to go through this community process where they talk about what do they want their graduates to look like when they leave us. So I was proud of the fact that we did that a couple years ago. And I think the challenge in these words is to continually put them out in front of folks. So we're talking about the ideas and we're using them. We're setting goals and actions. And Dr. Beekson talks about how we use them when she's putting the LCAP together with the LCAP committee. So yeah, that was good news on that. So that's it from you, Superintendent.
Thank you very much. Okay, now let's move to some board reports. So if any of the board trustees want to report out on their activities.
I got a couple.
Mr. Wing.
I got a couple. The Benicia Youth Teen Center had a open house a couple of weeks ago, and it was well attended. And I'd like to say thank you for going because they were happy that the new board members that showed up and showed a lot of interest in there. And I think as a community that they're doing great things for our teens, and just to be able to visit and show that support from us, and I think we need to figure out how we could show them more support at our middle school and high school and get more information out at the sites about the teen center. So but yeah, that was a good night. That, and then last week was the high school open house, and I'd like to say it was really nice seeing the amount of 8th grade parents with future freshmen coming in their orientation, and then they also had the elective fair going on in the multipurpose room, and how well that was, and the great job that just all the teachers did themselves, and then the outside groups that had tables set up in the quad, and I thought it was a well attended good night, other than being a little cold.
I agree. All right, Mrs. Zeta.
Yes, I did attend the Kyle Highland Center's open house and also the Benicia High School open house to new and incoming students. I thought that was great. I loved walking around the elective fair and talking to some of the teachers and the kids that were involved. That was great. I had an opportunity to tour Benicia High School and Benicia Middle School with Dr. Young and the principals of both of those schools. And I was glad that I was able to do that and meet some of the people that were on campus, and that was nice. Thank you for doing that. We won't talk about that. Mary Farmer Elementary had their Kindness Week this past week, and I attended the assembly, and it was great. I mean, even our mayor put on a tutu, of the city. She was there. It was wonderful. And I also, I got a $500 donation to Mary Farmer Elementary School, to their garden. And that is coming from Monica Brown, our county supervisor. We're expecting that. And the person that does the garden, that's the lead gardener, she's super excited about that. And I think, and then this weekend is the band booster jazz crab. It's my first crab thing for this year, so I'm excited. I'll be there. So that's all I have to report.
Okay. All right. Well, I was a little busy this time as well. I went to the chamber dinner to represent the board, and I managed to convince Dr. Young that it would be a great place to go. And I think it was. I think it was really beneficial for all of us as the district to become more engaged. It was great meeting our public officials and talking in a more relaxed atmosphere. I had the opportunity to talk a little bit with our chief, who has some really great ideas about getting our schools and his projects on board so that they work together. So I thought it was pretty exciting. So I know as he meets with Dr. Young, they'll flush that out and then share with us what that might look like, because he didn't give me any details. He just said he had some ideas he wanted to go. But anyways, I thought it was a great opportunity, and we wanted to see about maybe next year if we all can go and begin to merge the district and connect with the city better than we have been. Also hit the open house at the high school. I saw you guys there. As always, they do a great job, and I was really excited to see even a larger group of 8th grade parents there this year. They seem to be coming, so clearly word of mouth is spreading that it's a good thing. There's good information coming, and that they should participate. Did the DREAM project at Matthew Turner this past week. Parents put together this engineering project for students, and it was a different project at every grade level, obviously to be reflective of the students' skills and their abilities, but they did an amazing job. So I was so impressed when I got there. We went into the art room because that's where they housed it, and they had everything laid out. The teachers had their thing. I was like, we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. And it just hummed along, and they had lots and lots of support there. So I know it was their parents that did it, but I would love to see that touch the other elementary schools as well. It was just an incredible project. Did the LCLAT meeting the other night with Dr. Beatson. It was a wonderful experience. The teachers have been, and the LCAP, as you know, it's our living document. It's what we do in our school district. It guides us. And they are now at the point where we are tallying the results of their staff meetings. So it was really more fun talking about the things you were going to talk about at the staff meeting, because we literally were just tallying dots just to begin to get a sense of where people are falling, because what we're doing is evaluating our actions and determining whether or not to move forward with them, or if we need to really step back and take a closer look. So quite a process, and I appreciate everybody who sat on that committee. There were administrators, there were teachers there with us, and also classified, and it was an hour and a half of really hard work. So And then I got to go to the wrestling crab feed. So I've already been to a crab feed.
Already been to 2?
I've already been to 2, actually. Yes, I did Old Timers for the City.
We did do the other one.
But I've got to say the wrestling crowd was amazing and packed. From what I understand is the minute that they announced that they're going to do the crab feed, I was talking, Mr. Wing and I were talking with Craig, who is the athletic director at the high school. He said the tickets go out before we even can get them on the website to say that tickets are available. I mean, I only ended up getting a ticket because a friend's wife got sick. And it was like, I felt really bad that she got sick, but I got to go to this crab feed. And it was amazing. The clock tower was packed. So they have tremendous support. I was really proud of them. They did a great job. So anyways, that was my time.
And then just to add on, talking about the relationship with the city, I'm having breakfast or coffee tomorrow with the city manager, Ms. Tinfo.
All right.
So one of the things we'll talk about is resurrecting that liaison
Yes.
group again that we had in the past. So
Right.
that'll be on the agenda.
Good. Awesome. That's great to hear. So thank you. Is there any other comments from my board? Okay. Let's move on then to comments from our community. Members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Cards may be completed requesting to address the board. They're available at the back table and may be submitted to the board secretary at the meeting. The governing board allows speakers to speak at regular meetings on agendized and not agendized matters under public comment. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. Please note that the speaking time cannot be delegated to another person. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff or placements on a future agenda of the governing board. Okay, and it seems that we have a speaker, Marina Wills. Is that correct? Okay, please come to the podium.
Hello, my name is Marina Wills, and I'm here today to speak about the condition and the need to address the condition of the tennis courts, and Benicia High School in particular, because that is where I personally play. I am a resident of Benicia for the last 15 years. I have 2 kids. One just graduated Benicia High School and played on the tennis team. The other one just starting his tennis season as well. And you guys, 15 years ago, I moved to Benicia loving the city, loving the town, loving the atmosphere and parades every other weekend, and schools and people who really care and are involved. And that pride, I want my kids to feel it. And it is so hard because besides the fact that whenever we're hosting another team from another town, it's just cringing to be there. It's kind of embarrassing, but right now I'm seeing it's not safe either. And I'm concerned about my child injuring himself. I mean, there are potholes, or the courts are uneven, there are bumps, there are all kinds of things that really just can't be part of the tennis game. And tennis is such a great sport that brings families together. You can start playing at any level and join a competitive league at any age, and it's excellent, and it is something that can be part of pride of the city. And if we start at middle school age and kids continue, then by high school they'll be good, they'll be competitive, something to be proud of, something where, families and kids can come and be. And it's one of those sports you can't play if you don't have tennis courts. You can't just toss a ball around on a lawn. You need courts. And so I know that the conversation is happening and is continuing. Please keep that in the forefront of your mind. It's so important. We want to continue being proud of the city and what we have in all spheres of athletic and academic achievement. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be approved by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these items unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be pulled or discussed. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the consent calendar passes. Do we have any? Okay, we're now going to move on to our discussion items, which is our first reading of board policies. Dr. Young, or is it Mrs. Sherry? Are there? Okay, thank you.
So this is an item that we bring to you every board meeting, and it'll start off with a first reading, and then we bring it to as an action item. So the process we use is CSBA gives us updates on existing board policies, and we continue to work through them with staff, and are making really good progress in updating all of our board policies. So you see a number of them in there. You have them as part of your board packet, and we bring them tonight to use a first reading. I do have a correction that I would like to make. That was an error on our part. Board policy 6146 on high school graduation requirements and BPAR 6146 alternative credits toward graduation. I would like to pull those from this evening. Those are two board policies that we will be discussing going forward, and would bring them to a board meeting at a later date. But they still need to go
Not
through
the first one,
not the
just second.
just the
It's
second
the
one.
alternative credits toward graduation.
Okay, thank you.
We had as a board discussed wanting to bring all three of them then. So we do want that.
We did. I think the trustees are recommending that we pull both of those and,
Right.
and bring both of those items back
Right.
together, and any other sort of related
And
items.
so
that
what were the numbers of the other ones?
BP 6146,
Okay.
high school graduation requirement, and BPAR 6146. We'll bring those back. Okay, thank you. Apologize for the error.
No,
Can I just make a side note here that, to Betty, the agenda online, we get messages that, oops, there's a problem loading more pages. And so we can't even get to all the 142 pages
Oh,
of stuff
That's on there.
that's on there. So
Well,
agenda
if
online,
you would like, we can go back to the old version. It's still available for a year.
me personally, until they get all their
Doesn't
bugs
matter
worked
to me.
out,
Okay.
I think we need to do that, because you try to look at attachments and they're
Still loading.
still
Right.
loading, or you
Or it
can't
kicks
save
you
them,
out before they are.
or exactly. So
I'm happy to go back to the old one.
yeah, 'cause even right now, it's still saying they're trying to load the pages.
It's hard to read things when you can't get to them
Yeah,
to see.
definitely.
Is everybody else in agreement with that? I'm sorry, Mrs. Ada, you haven't seen the old one, and it means you're going to need to learn a new one, but this one is extremely challenging, I think.
I mean, were you able to load those at home? But here you can't.
Yeah, see, they're not.
So, okay. Sorry about that.
Nope, thank you for bringing that up. We are all kind of struggling with that. Okay, so at this point, we approved the agenda with a flip. So instead of going to site plans, we are going to go to the contracts for Benicia Middle School, the modernization projects. So everybody remember that? We're okay with that? Okay, so we're going to move on, and Dr. Young, you want to cue up, or Roxanne?
You're on the, so we're going.
14.2,
Okay.
the bond. Yeah, we moved her up. We're coming back to that after.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Egan. Just a note, I want to pay Ms. Egan an appreciation that she continues to do really outstanding work for us, and to remind everybody that we all work hard, and we appreciate your efforts there. And these projects are big and complicated and technical and lots of moving parts. And not only does Ms. Egan do a wonderful job of that, but her work around applying for those CTE grants, getting in line for Proposition 51 dollars. And there were hearing some signals from our new governor that there's a possibility that some of those $51 might loosen the purse strings a little bit, hopefully. So anyways, Ms. Egan, just really thanks for your great work. Appreciate it.
Very much appreciated. Thank you, Dr. Young. So I wanted to share some updates with you on the bidding of the Benicia Middle School modernization for Phase 1. We had the bid results were due on Tuesday, just 2 days ago. I'm going to share kind of the history of the process. So we publicly advertised the project with 9 contractors pre-qualified, which we were really pleased for in this market. That's a great turnout. We had a good turnout at the pre-construction walkthrough. Unfortunately, only 1 contractor submitted a bid, and the bid that was submitted is non-responsive, as it did not include all of the required documents. The bid was also very much over the projected construction budget. So staff intends to modify the bid packaging to make it more attractive to contractors and has already begun reaching out for any suggestions they may have. One likely change in the bid documents will include the district contracting to the modular manufacturers direct in lieu of including it under the general contractor scope. That will result in 1 contract with the modular manufacturer and an additional contract with the general contractor for the site work. Additionally, we may reopen the opportunity for general contractors to pre-qualify, and are hopeful a few contractors we have had prior success with will submit. We feel that rebidding will provide better results for the district and, if approved by the board, anticipate the project will go back out to bid prior to the end of February. As more information is available, we will continue providing schedule and other updates to the board. Although unknown until new bids are procured, there is a possibility the original schedule, as proposed, may be only minorly impacted. Since the single bid received was non-responsive, there really is no other option except to rebid. Staff recommendation for the board consideration and possible action for the Benicia Middle School modernization, Phase 1, is to reject all bids and rebid the project.
So you only had 1 bid that came in and it wasn't valid because it wasn't complete. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so with
Was
that,
it double the amount or
It
what?
was double.
Double.
double the amount, really?
And so I've started having conversations already. Part of it, high economy, but also they were not getting responses from the modular manufacturers. The GCs were not. And I've reached out to the modular manufacturers, and it seems that they're more willing to be responsive to the district direct. There's pros and cons both ways of bidding underneath the GC versus direct, and both of them have difficulties. And we've did it both ways before, and there's no all proof solution. But so there was another bidder, like right before we kind of were polling the bidders to see who was going to come out and gauging what we were expecting to see. And just like a day or two before, we expected at least 1 more bid. The reason they didn't show up, as I've been told from them, is because of the inability to get bids for the modulars, which were required as part of their documents. So we really feel like by breaking it apart, and also I've reached out to other general contractors who did not pre-qualify, and they've said that they would be interested if we reopen it. And we have a good history and experience. And of course, it would be open to everyone. It's not exclusive. But so people who are already pre-qualified would still be eligible. And then we feel that between bringing some new people on board and separating those out. I'm asking people how they feel about schedules to see if they feel that those might be still doable. What I'm hearing right now is it might be minorly impacted, like a month or so, but not like, So I'll
6
just,
months, yeah.
I know, there's no promises until we get the new bids, if you
Right.
guys approve it to do that. There's no guarantee until we get people under contract, but I am feeling reassured by the conversations I'm having, and I will continue to reach out to every single person and do whatever we can to get our best product for the district. So,
That would be great, because double absolutely does not work.
yeah.
Okay, so are there any other comments or questions from the?
So what else was different in that bid that raised the price so high? Is there anything else we need to be looking at?
So far, I've only had a day that I've been pulling out. I'm gonna try to get a breakdown. I reached out to the person who did bid and asked them to provide a breakdown on their different subs and their submittals. And then I also was going to have the architect review their engineer's estimate to see if they feel that it, is really a true validation or if it's needs to be adjusted. So between those
I wonder
two,
if any of it reflects on our
proposal that we put out, like
Yeah.
a realistic approach on our end.
And I have also heard that there's, there's been a lot of recent bonds approved. So there's a lot of easy money, a lot of easy projects out there where people are jumping on board to get. And so the bigger jobs are not jumping on board because it's a lot more work and where they can make a quick buck and go with the districts that don't require as much as that we are requiring. So I've heard that too.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of those big bond monies are right around us, so it's
Yes.
like it's going very far.
There's like $187,000, $1 million of projects for this next year in our area. So
It is
So that's
insane. I mean, you're
afraid.
just like so grateful to the state and to everybody, the local communities, that there's money for the school improvements, but having everybody in construction at the same time works against us because it drives all your prices way up. So, yeah, we're doing everything we can to try to get our best value though.
Well, but the truth is, this is a builder's market, not just with the bonds that the schools are bidding out, with all the housing that's going up because of the fires. I mean, it is truly a builder's market right now.
No,
So-
totally is. Yeah.
All right, so any other comments?
Thank you.
Okay, so with that said, can I call for a motion to reject the bid and let Roxanne go back out to rebid the project, please?
that's motion I was gonna say, move that we reject the bid and even look at breaking it out and doing a rebid.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Go forward, Roxanne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move to the site safety plans.
I'd
So
like to-
14.1, we're going back.
Good. So welcome, Dr. Patton. Here's a presentation. We do this yearly. Each school site has, the district office too, right, has a safety plan. It's a delineated safety procedures and how we respond to different situations, and we update them every year. And Dr. Patton works with principals to make sure that they're updated and they're accurate, and staff is ready to implement them. And so she is here this evening to give us a quick summary of those plans and seek your approval.
All right, thank you, Dr. Young. Thank you, Madam President and trustees. So you do have before you and attached to your documents, they are not visible to the public for the safety of our students and staff. However, they are, if any stakeholders would like to review them, they can see them either in my office, in Ms. Jensen's office, here in the district office, or a single specific school site plan is available in their school office. We do have, as Dr. Young indicated, an overall district safety plan, and then each school site has a safety committee that looks at specific safety issues on their site, looks at discipline, looks at physical structures, and reviews for safety. The major changes to the plans this year is we had a consultant come in at the beginning of the year. If you recall, Secure Educational Consultants, they did both a review of our procedures and policies and our physical layouts at all of our schools, and then did some training and some recommendations under our alert protocols and responses. So those have been updated to reflect the run, hide, fight, and also 4 levels of alert. So we have differentiated, for example, a shelter in place is a non-human threat. It would be something like a smoke or air contaminant, or possibly a wild animal on campus that we just need to keep kids inside, versus like a lockdown or a lockout. Other than that, the other major update is that we do have lock blocks and Velcros on all of our doors, about 99%. We still have a couple of doors that maintenance is working on because the lock blocks don't work. So, and those should be done within a few weeks. And then we have made the physical recommendations. We've met with Mr. Rayhill and Miss Egan and some of the other members of the bond facility technology to look at all of the recommendations for physical updates. and prioritized those and delegated some to our maintenance and operations and some to our bond. So those you should be starting to see things like perimeter fencing and entries to school and things like that. Those improvements will be coming either out of maintenance or out of bond money. If you have any specific questions, I would be more than happy to answer them for you.
I actually have a couple, Carolyn,
Okay.
and then I think everybody has a few questions. One of the things that I was seeing as I read through all the plans is I see some common threads,
Mhm.
and the common threads that are needs, specifically trainings and the medical safety support pieces.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of, when I see it come up in everybody's
Mhm.
plan, I'm like, okay, what is the plan to address those needs? Because when every site is saying they need to be trained, I just want to make sure that that's happening. Is it on the horizon soon?
That's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. We do have a monthly meeting with the city, the fire department, the police department, and the school district. And the fire department has agreed to take a look at our trauma kits and do trauma training. So we
Okay.
are looking at dates for that. So in addition, our nurse, of course, Terry Dean, our administrator of the year, yay, Terry, has offered to do some training, and she does training on a regular basis, but it is an area that has been updated with the state looking
Right,
at
right.
safety. We know that many people can, even if there is, for example, a shooter on campus or an earthquake, many people can survive those injuries if people have that trauma response training. So we are looking at that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that piece,
that-
okay,
yeah,
I just wanted to make sure.
exactly.
It's like, to me, it became like a red flag
Right.
when 7 schools.
Yes.
It's like, okay, we need to talk about that. What is
Yep.
that? I think I'll let somebody else ask a question. I have another one, but I can always come back.
You said that we had, almost all the classrooms have the lock
Blocks.
lock
yes.
blocks. Is that so that the teachers can lock from the inside?
That's a really good question. So what it does is it allows the door to stay permanently locked, but then it's kind of like putting something in between the door and the catch, so the door can actually open and close without somebody having to go open it. So if it's a door that kids are coming and going or staff are coming and going, they can still open and close it. If they need to, they have an intruder on campus
Right.
or they need to go into a lockdown, all they have to do is just push that lock blocks off to the side. So any student, staff, or anybody can do it. So they don't have to fumble with their keys to actually lock the door. And we know that when you're nervous, your fine motor skills go.
Sure.
Right.
So this is a real easy fix. And then Paul, the custodian that just retired, actually came up with the idea of putting Velcro around the pressure bars. So that actually, those doors are permanently locked too. And you can see that at our back door of our district office. And you just, yes, that was his idea. And you just rip off the Velcro and then that door is locked. So we have some pretty ingenious people in this district.
Mhm.
So
I have a few items. The Matthew Turner PDF is saved twice, but one as Mary Farmer and one as Matthew Turner.
right.
So we don't know what the information is for that
Yeah,
other school.
Right. I saw that. It was that's been fixed in the regular document.
Okay.
And you'll also notice, I think on yours that was scanned up to you, Joe Henderson didn't have a PDF of their evacuation route.
Oh.
That's been fixed in
Yeah,
the
no map.
permanent-
Yeah,
no
that's
map.
that
That's
was
been
another
fixed, yes.
question.
It was kind of the timing of you push the principals to get them in on time, but I also needed
Sure.
to get them to your documents. So.
Matthew Turner was missing a classified staff
Mhm.
as part of the Safe School Committee.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, and that is a requirement, correct?
It's they try and have a staff look at it. So we do have a classified staff that has reviewed it,
Okay.
but did not go to the meeting. You are correct.
Okay. And I noticed that Robert Semple, on theirs, there was some communication that was with the IT department that they've had out there for 6 months or so and haven't had a response regarding cameras.
Mhm.
Is that just being put to the side? No?
That's part of the security and fencing upgrade that they're looking
Okay.
to doing.
Okay. And then I think lastly is the ladders from the second story at the high school, I believe, and maybe, yeah, I think it's just at the high school. They were
Mhm.
talking about ladders that for escape and that
Mhm.
not everybody has them. Are
Correct.
they buddying up and using like several classrooms using the same ladder, or how is that? Or do we have to have one?
We do not have to
We
have one.
don't
We
have to
have
have
met
one.
the fire department's escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
we're okay
was
there.
reading through it
Yeah.
all, and it's a lot
Yeah.
of information. I was trying to
Right.
digest it, but okay,
Yeah.
that answers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have one more question, and it's about our new phones. They were talking about backup systems should the powers go out. Now, my understanding was that there was going to be walkie-talkies and/or there are cell phones. Is this still a problem
So
for
a couple,
communication?
right. So a couple things with our phones. So our phones are internet based, but every
Right.
site has a non-internet based old type of landline phone that works without the internet. So so they do have those. Our administrators all have cell phones, district provided cell phones. So we do have communication at our all of our schools have walkie talkies. Not everybody has them. So, and we also have push to talk between the administrators. That's also internet based. So, is it a perfect system? No. We have actually we've covered the bases that we can.
Okay.
We've had this conversation with our city safety committee. In fact, we just had it the other day. If there were a major earthquake and the cell went out and the power went out, we have to know how to survive without communicating between sites for a short period of time. And so we actually are planning a tabletop drill with the fire department and the police department to help our administrators work on some of that decision making. So, great questions, yeah.
I just have one other question, and that was, I noticed that we made these non-public this year. What was that recommendation based on?
So they have always been non-public. That's a recommendation from the state and from our police department. What we don't want to do is publish to somebody that wants to do harm to our students or staff what our protocols are, what our evacuation routes are, what our parents know where our reunification places are, where to meet their kids should they have to do a run, hide, fight. But we don't want a random stranger to go on the internet and see that. If a parent wants to see our safety plan or some other stakeholder, a staff, they do have access to them. We just don't have them on the internet.
Thank you. Okay, so I just wanted the clarification is, okay,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Gary. When I met at the last Bolero meeting, which was a couple of months ago, and of course the conversation, we're talking about shelter in place, and really that's what occurred for us in May when the refinery had their
Correct.
disruption. And they were talking about the police and fire, and they were assuring us that they were going to work with the schools on the safety plan. So I'm hearing from your conversation that they actually are. We are working together now
Yes.
and getting that communication process in place.
So two things that have happened. We meet monthly, myself, Mr. Thompson from the high school, Mr. Slater, Seba Padawan from IT, Alfredo Romero from maintenance, the Lieutenant Laughter from the police department, Mark Massini, Jason Fine, who's our chief of fire department, and also Drake Valentine from the city. So we have about an hour and a half meeting. We have a running agenda, and I call it eating an elephant, and because it's a huge project from
Right.
both ends. Their view of how we support their issues and protocols and ours. So so we do have that monthly meeting. The other thing that is happening is the city of Benicia is updating their evacuation plan for the whole city, and I have been participating in that, representing Benicia Unified. So that is an ongoing project that they hope to have approved by the end of April. And school students that are in school with their parents at work are in this group of individuals that are classified as cannot evacuate on their own. And so just like the elderly or the disabled, they're in there. So Benicia Unified students will be part of the plan in that evacuation. And we've talked about how we would get our students out. So
Well,
just
my
lots of good
meeting was
conversation.
with Chiefs Chadwick and with Chief Upton, and really it was Councilman Campbell who brought it up, the fact that they were setting up a control center, a process for a control center and a communication process for the city. And we talked about how the school was not alerted to the Valero incident. Dr. Young was probably one of the last to know, and at that point, school had already started. So they were saying how that needed to not happen, and we needed to be
Right.
folded into that conversation.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that they acknowledged that we have a lot of children that need to make sure that our children and our staff are safe.
Right.
So you've got to
Yeah.
include us in these conversations.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad that's happening.
Yep, it's definitely happening, and we have a list. So Dr. Young is the top of the list to notify for the district, then Ms. Jensen, then myself, and then it just goes down from there. And there are instructions for dispatcher to keep calling until they reach a live person,
Okay.
not to leave messages. I mean, they can leave a message, but then
But they
go to
need
the
to go
next
until
person.
they actually have a real
Mhm.
voice.
And so they have that list at dispatch, and then obviously the chief and lieutenant after all of them have that now.
Okay,
So-
Mr.
Just a quick question, and maybe our IT expert in the back could answer that. So our phone system, where's the primary operation from? From the IT room? So long as we have the UPSs up and that system working, are they able to call room to room? So. Okay, so if the internet goes down, their phone on site is gonna be their cell phones. Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions?
So the staff is asking for a motion to approve the site safety plans.
Right, you are.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the site safety plans as submitted with the corrections of having the the actual Mary Farmer plan included. That's my motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the site plans are passed as submitted. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
With the corrections.
Thank you.
Okay, now
Just,
let's go
just
to,
a comment, since you are deleting this agenda online. What another one of the problems with it, and this is what happened, is once I post it so you can read it, I cannot change one thing. And in the old system, I could still go in and make some adjustments before the Brown Act period expired. I can't. So those things that were wrong, even though I knew it, I couldn't fix them. So that won't happen if we go back to the old system.
so can I make a motion? We go back to the old agenda.
We
Ah.
our screens are strobing through
Yeah.
the information.
They're flickering.
Every time you click on something over there, it affects all of our
Yep.
attachments
Oh,
here.
does it?
Yes.
Yeah, we are flashing. It's kind of like,
It's because we're all connected through the board.
this is-
Okay.
all right, so I think our next one is a description of the intervention specialist. And
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So, as I have written in the rationale that in next few months, maybe over the next year or so, we will be bringing forward different job descriptions for two reasons. One, to just update them because some of them have been out there. It's a good thing to make the job descriptions consistent and update them. Secondly, we have a few positions for which we do not have actually job descriptions. We are finding out as we are working on them. And this is one of them. We have intervention position, but intervention specialist position, we didn't have a job description, so we wrote it. And we worked with I worked with Karen Fields, who was very supportive of this concept. So I personally work with either Andre Finn or Karen Fields, whichever job description we are working on, to receive their input and before I bring them forward. So that was that job description. And then would you like me to go on to the next one as well? before you approve them, or questions?
Well, I think we need to approve them separately, correct? So, okay, are there any comments or
I
questions?
do have a question. So does our current intervention specialist, her current, what she was hired under, does she meet everything in this job
Correct.
description?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, can I call for a motion to accept the job description for intervention specialist? And I need a second.
I move that we approve the job description for the intervention specialist as presented.
And I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, now we can move on to the CTE.
Thank you. So this the second job description actually is a temporary job description, but we still needed a job description for this position. Benicia High School has the CTE CTEC grant. They would like to, they have quite a bit of work that needs to be done from a coordinator kind of perspective, and they're asking to be able to use that funding and hire a part-time, approximately 10 hour a week person from now until the end of the school year, to be able to complete their work and support them in that arena, just using the CTE funding. That's all will be used. And I did work with, again, Ms. Karen Fields to receive BTA's input on this job description as well.
And this job description ends in June of 9.
As job will end, if we ever get a chance to hire this kind of position again, then we will have a job description.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? All right, do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the CTE temporary job position description.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, and with that, any other comments or questions? She says go. This meeting is adjourned.